Good afternoon, taxpayers and parents of Cumberland County, and this is Mariana. Welcome to the Boiling Point. So yeah, I'm back. I had to take a few days just to be with family. You know that we are in holiday time, but I haven't forgotten the questions that some of the parents and taxpayers have been sending me, and this time around they have been asking me if the superintendent, Tostos, and that's the picture that you see on the screen right now, if he is allowed to start an anonymous committee in the West Shore School District um, to approve library material, library books to be put into our public schools. So, just a little background. The last school board meeting in November, when Mrs. Brent was still our president, it was brought to our attention that the administration, Tostos, Matthew Gay, has started an anonymous committee. And the purpose of this anonymous committee is to review books and approve vote among themselves, mind you, to approve books for our libraries. So when the school board of directors president and some other board members asked him who was in this committee, he refused to tell them because it's an anonymous committee. Okay. Well, does he have a right to start in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania an anonymous committee? So the answer to that question is no. In Pennsylvania, superintendents do not have the authority to create committees, secret or anonymous committees, to take votes on approving books for school libraries without the knowledge of parents. So the parents, the taxpayers, the school board directors actually have the right to know which books are up for voting part of this anonymous committee. Because you see, guys, it's our tax dollars. It's our tax dollars that they are using to buy this material. Number two, we are paying his salary. So that means that we are his boss. Now, this is not the first time that the superintendent have been insubordinate. We saw it through the last 2 years when Mrs. Heidi Thomas and Mrs. Kelly Brandt were both presidents. His blatant insubordination and his lack of respect and his lack of transparency, not only to the school board of directors, but also to the parents and taxpayers of the West Shore School District. The Pennsylvania Right to Know law requires that parents be informed about decisions made regarding their children's education, including curriculum and library book selections. Superintendents must adhere to these laws to ensure transparency, which he has an issue with, transparency, and parental involvement in educational decisions. So now we have two anonymous groups in the West Shore School District. One is the one approving these books, and the other one is a group of parents. I believe they're called Voices of the West Shore or something to that effect, that are making decisions alongside Tostos as to what is best for our children. And they claim that they are a group of parents, okay? But the problem with the second group is this, and possibly even with this committee, anonymous committee that we're speaking about the library resources. The problem is this, that they refuse to allow a conservative parent in. If you are a parent of a conservative view at the West Shore School District, and you want to join any of these two groups, you're not allowed. How do we know? Because we've tried. A couple parents have tried, and he shot them down once he realized that they are of a conservative persuasion. So that's discriminatory. Now, outside of all this, okay, he is not allowed to create this anonymous committee? Because in Pennsylvania, school superintendents are responsible for the overall management of public schools. So we know that. They have the authority to make decisions regarding school policies, including curriculum and budgets, and are required to keep the community informed about their actions. Again, transparency that he has none of. While superintendents can oversee the approval of books in public school libraries, there is no explicit provision in the law that will allow them to form an anonymous committee to approve books without transparency to parents and the school board. Now, the problem that we have with this current school board that we have at the moment is a couple of things. Okay. First and foremost, with the exception of 3, 6 of the 9 all encourage these pornographic novels in our school, and they fight for these pornographic novels in our schools. Secondly, they're trying to say that the board is a team of 10 because they're including the superintendent. No, the school board is a team of 9. The superintendent is not part, nor should ever be considered part of the school board directors. He can put some input in, suggest things, give advice, but he's not a school board. Anytime he's 10 guys, correct, it's a 9. So the school board superintendents can influence decisions, but they must adhere to the legal requirements for public disclosure, participation in processes. So can he create an anonymous committee, an anonymous parental group? No, he cannot. He cannot. Now, we all know that we have SMUT in the West Shore School District, okay? And they even deny having certain books there, like this particular one, Genderqueer. This book is in school and it was donated because donated books, okay, they do not have the catalog. So they're going to feed you the lie, if it's not in the catalog, we don't have it in the West Shore School District. No, they have it in the West Shore District. It was donated, so it doesn't have to be cataloged. And now that they're taking the library resource policy and trashing it, the new board is, they're trashing it. They're not moving it forward because they don't want that decency clause in it. And they don't want a list, okay, to be created of the donors who donate books to the school like this one. They don't want, any trace of that, any evidence of that. Okay, it's going to get worse, but this particular book, Genderqueer, School District, I seen it. I held it myself in one of their school libraries. Although Scouts deny it, Brian Geiswhite denies it, and the reason Brian Geiswhite denies it is because when this book came into existence and some of the SMUT came into the West Shore School District, it was under his leadership. His wife was the librarian here in the West Shore School District. This is Kelly, I believe is her name, and she was also the head of the Gay Alliance Club here in the West Shore School District. Okay. So I challenged August, okay, because you can challenge a book in order for them to review it and consider removing it. I put a challenge in for 3 books. And the breakup list. This book, All Boys Are Blue, Christy Harmon has read in the school board meetings. And the last time she read it really made one of the members feel uncomfortable, and Christy was kind enough to stop reading it because it is an uncomfortable situation. However, we found out that the night that she read it, which was before Thanksgiving, that meeting before Thanksgiving, that same night, this anonymous committee approved this book that I challenged. They approved this book, and it is now in our library. This is also the book that Senator Kennedy, you can find it on YouTube, read, and he was tearing the person apart, saying that this book should not be in the schools. Very graphic, very disgusting. So what happened to the challenges? Well, what happened with the challenges was this. I submitted it in August. Matthew Gay sent me a confirming email that they received and they were going to review it. Here we are, December 12th. 13 days away from Christmas and the start of the new year. They never reviewed it. They never reviewed my challenges. They probably threw it in the dumpster. Okay. They were saying for a while there, because I stopped going to the meetings for a bit. So they were saying, because they thought they had gotten rid of me, that there was 0 books challenge. And former school board director Abigail Turney was one of the people saying, yeah, I can pull up the videos if you guys need to see it, that there was 0 book challenge, when they all know that the book was challenged. And how do they know? Because I send each and every one of them, including Tostos. And I also copy some of our state reps and local reps. Okay, so these books were challenged. They were ignored. Nothing was done, and it was approved. Okay, so parents, what do you do now? No. The answer to your question is that no, he doesn't have the authorization to do that. So he's doing this illegally. Okay. Now, what you do is in your hands. But what do this that you will say? Submitting a complaint to the Board of Superintendents, informing them of what's happening in the West Shore School District, contacting the Federal Department of Education under the Federal Department of Education, okay, and informing them of this, and also informing them how they plan to violate Title IX by having all gender bathrooms in the West Shore School District. Yes, parents, yes, your girls will now be sharing a bathroom with the boys. So I need you to understand that. Your daughters will be sharing the bathroom with the boys, and your sons will be sharing the bathrooms with the girls. Oh, and I hear through the daughter of one of our newly elected board members that her mom is bringing sports equity back. So what does that mean? That means that boys will be allowed again to play in girls' sports. And this library policy that everybody was working on, meaning the former board was working on, that will have had a decency clause, okay, and will have required, certain things to put certain safeguards in there for the kids. That's going to be trashed. So the pornography is coming back into the West Shore School District, being purchased by your tax dollars. So at this point, parents, the ball is on your court, literally in your court. You have the information now. He cannot do this, okay? And the only way he can keep those names anonymous and sealed is if there is some sort of legal proceeding against them or a lawsuit against them, which is something to consider, folks, because these people love lawsuits. We all know that. If that would have been the case, that there was some legal proceedings, okay, then yes, he would not have to disclose the names, but that's not the case. So I would suggest get the rights to know, submit the complaints. These people that you are electing, state reps and local reps, blow up their phones, collectively blow up their phones, because, they want your vote, but they must be willing to represent and hear what you have to say in moments like this, and also speak up in a moment like this. Because if they do not, don't vote them in again. Plain and simple. Don't vote them in again. So the boys in your court, I did my homework. Okay. You guys have my number. You know how to contact me. But it's time for you guys to be vocal. And listen, if you have to get parents together to protest in front of the administration building for them to do the right thing, then that's something that needs to be considered also. So anyway, this is Mariana from The Boiling Point. I do want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe. And remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. He came from heaven in form of a child, became a man. He healed many when he was here. He was the light of the world. He was crucified for our sins, and he rose on the third day. All because he loves you. All to offer you eternal life and to offer you true hope. So may you have a very Merry Christmas with your family. This is Mariana from The Boiling Point, signing out.